said, Trent, the boys started really well today, but just couldn't carry it through in that final term.
Yeah, first three quarters were really good, really positive. Won a lot of territory, had a lot of scoring shots, weren't able to kick accurately, and then when the big moments came in the last quarter, Glenorchy were able to get on top of us, which was pretty disappointing. So yeah, if we can take something from today, the first three quarters, what we were trying to do really stood up, and it was really pleasing to see us play that way. But last quarter, for where we want to go and what we're trying to achieve, probably not good enough. So we'll really have to review that strongly.
Yeah, so the misses early really cost your side today.
Yeah, I think, it's the old cliche, bad kicking, bad football. So, yeah, that just comes down to work. Like, our forwards do a lot of work on their craft and their set shot goal kicking. Last week we kicked really accurately, more goals than points, and today it just went the other way. And sort of that was the message at half-time to the boys was, you're getting the opportunities, but just calm down. They'll start to go. And I thought the third quarter was really good. We came out really fast and kicked accurately. Mickey Paul kicked a couple that really got us going. But then, and at the end of the day, more scoring shots. We probably had a few more inside 50s as well. And, we've got to win those games or win the game out of that.
How did you see the Poland-Grace matchup today?
Yeah, Will Poland was fantastic, as he always is. Gracie's a little bit different to the sort of forwards that Will's normally playing on. Gracie's always on the move and always dangerous. I thought Will competed and did a good job on him. So, especially any shots or marks that Gracie took, he definitely earned. I don't feel there was anything too easy for him. And it was a good battle to watch, good young key forward in the comp against one of the good young key defenders as well. So, yeah, it was a really good matchup.
And who else stood out to you today?
I think Ryan Matthews inside the contest. I think he had high 20s and he was up around the 10 tackles as well. So I think that was, he loves that contested stuff. I thought he was really good. Kieran had a lot of the ball as he normally does. Mickey Paul was great. He marked the ball. He had a lot of shots on goal. I think he ended up with 7 shots for the day. And a few of our not lesser lights. I thought Ben Donnelly was really strong down back, particularly in the first half. He had a lot of intercept marks and won his one-on-ones. And I thought Bo Adams looked pretty lively early as well. We sent him to Zach Webster, and I think he did a pretty good job limiting Zach, especially in the first half. I think those guys were, and Davies. I thought Davies was really strong for us as well, out of the back half, playing on Jay initially, and then Jay went up the ground into the midfield in the second half. So I thought MD. So really our leaders were really good today.
And next week you got Clarence, so good chance to respond just before the finals. Yeah,
that's it. And all these games, our last 4 games, we set ourselves like stepping stones into a finals. Like, we know we're going to finish 5th. We can't finish any lower. We can't finish any higher. Obviously, we'll know in a couple of weeks who our opponent is and what that looks like. So, Clarence are playing good footy at the moment. They've got a few of their Devils back. Jezza and Cox as well are always dangerous forward of the ball. So, and that'll be a big game next week. The game's for the Gadomski Rewalt Trophy. So, we'll talk a lot about that during the week. So, it's raising a lot of funds for the Alex Gadomski Fellowship, which is an issue or a thing that's very close to our footy club's heart, obviously. So, we want to come out and have a really good showing next week because, it's an important moment and we want to pay our respects to that for the footy club.
PK, it was a pretty poor start, but some flashes of brilliance in the third got the side over the line.
Yeah, I wouldn't say brilliance. I don't reckon it was that. I think, half time, we're probably a little bit lucky. We were lucky to still be, as close as we were at half time. And I thought our backs had done a really good job in that first half. They'd put the Tigers forwards under a lot of pressure. They'd made sure that, the shots at goal were from wide and for a long way out. And then, we got the good luck in terms that they missed those shots. And the week before, the shoe was on the other foot against Clarence where we were missing a lot of shots and a lot of really easy ones. So it's one of those swings and roundabouts. But I give our defenders a lot of credit because they plugged the leaky dam in that first half and they allowed us to still be in the contest. But then, we talked at half time, it was at half time we were -1 in stoppages but -24 in inside 50s. And that tells you that just our work rate wasn't where it needed to be. We looked like a team coming off a bye. You know, we looked flat, and our pressure was down, our work rate was down. We fell away from our structure as a result of that. You know, we got drawn out of it because we're playing the game in their half so much. So half-time was just all about, you know, a few structural things, but a lot of it just around that willingness to work and get numbers to contest and to cover their spare man or to give us a spare man. And then they come out and kick the first 3 goals of the third quarter, and all of a sudden we're 4 goals down and, you know, right on the cusp. It was a moment of truth. We could have rolled over at that point and got really soundly beaten. And that happened a month ago against Launceston here. And so it was really important for us. It would have, you know, we couldn't let it happen again. It's pretty hard to recover from doing that twice on your home deck. But we grinded away in the third quarter. You know, I thought Cam Duffy, we asked him to do more of the ruck work from that point, and he did a great job. James Webb went to Kieran Lovell and did a really good job. You know, Jay Bowden stepped up and was excellent. Kel Daly really came into the game at that point. You know, Goodsall, Zach Webster, Josh Arnold in particular down back were really good. And then, you know, Sam Reeves, we swung him forward and he started giving us a target, gave us a bit of structure. So there wasn't anything pretty in that third quarter, but we just worked at it and got those last 3 goals. And the guys came in with a lot of belief at that point because they knew how close we were to falling off the cliff. And then we're right back up the top again. And then obviously the last quarter, you know, we lost a pretty handy guy called Ben Camerick midway through that second term, and you know, we were asking guys to, you know, a rotation down for a long time. So to kick, the last 8 goals of the game and really just dominate the game it just shows a lot of courage and a lot of character. And we got a little lucky early, but we made the most of that just through our sheer hard work and really sticking to a plan well.
Yeah, you must be really pleased with the boys being 1 down to just run over the top of the Tigers like that.
Yeah, I mean, we had 2 bad losses against North Lonnie and Lonnie where we got run over and we didn't fight back. And then, you know, so we did a lot of, we wouldn't call it soul searching, but we did a lot of reviewing of ourselves and what we do from myself down. You know, it starts with the coach. You've got to identify what's going wrong when you have performances like that. And then the last 3 games, we've come from behind each time and really run over the top of teams. You know, against North Hobart, we kicked 7 straight goals in the last quarter to break that game open. And against Clarence, we came from 21 points down at half-time and I think we kicked 7 goals to 2 in the second half, or 8 goals to 2. So, you know, that's hard work and grunt and gut run. So, yeah, pretty proud of the boys. We don't want to turn up too many more of those first halves, though, from here on in.
Yeah, Sam Reeves, you said pushed down forward, played his role really well.
Yeah, I thought he did a pretty solid job on Mick Paul in the first half as well. But we just, you know, to get Jay up around the ball a bit more, we needed someone to give us structure forward. So he was that man. And, yeah, he's been really good. It's been a challenge for him, like learning state league footy. The structure we use obviously a lot different to what he's had at local footy, but he understands it well now. And the fact he was getting to the right spots and getting us those targets made a big difference, and his strength in the contest was good, and his pressure stuff was good for a big fella as well.
And how's Ben Camerick doing?
Yeah, look, I mean, he's got a really mild strain of the hammy, and it was one where he was sort of running up and down the boundary line, wanting to go back on, but myself and the physio, Darren Poon, had a chat and said, how many weeks does he miss? And he sort of said, well, probably 1 at most. And we're like, well, let's quit while we're ahead on that and make sure he's back at worst case scenarios for the first final and hopefully for the last game against North Lonnie.
And obviously next week's a really good chance against Lauderdale to just establish yourself as one.
Yeah, I mean, every game from here on is big. Lauderdale obviously have lost a couple, so they'll come out firing. Yeah, they're a really good team. We have great battles with them. Looking forward to it. You know, it's going to take a similar amount of character. Look, hopefully we'll get Sam Rundle back next week, which would be really nice. You know, Matt Dilger, with a bit of luck, will be right next week as well, and potentially Liam Smith. So a little bit of light at the end of that tunnel, and you know, hopefully we'll start to get some guys back leading into finals. But you know, a couple of our guys were really honest with me this week and sort of said that Harrison Gunther's injury, it was kind of like, the straw on top of the camel that breaks the camel's back and that took the wind out of the sails. And I said to the guys Thursday, it's really good that you're that honest about it, because, stuff around the mental side of footy's huge. And when you've got anxiety or whatever you've got to acknowledge it before you can move on. You can't pretend it's not there. And so, we just watched the level of pressure we applied against Clarence last week. We watched that as a group and we said, that's not an individual. That's not talent. And what makes this team a pretty solid team is the grunt and the work rate to apply that sort of pressure. And in the last 50 minutes of today's game, it was right there. So I look forward to cutting that up and showing the boys that again. But there's going to have to be 4 quarters of that against Lauderdale if we want to get a win next week.
Yeah, there's been a big media narrative about your injuries, but you must be really pleased with the boys to be in the position where they're in and keep putting in those 4-quarter efforts. Yeah,
I said during the week, some of our really best wins this year have been when we've been most tested, and today that was definitely the case. And, the fight to come from behind. I said to the guys afterwards, even though they make it hard work at times to be their coach, I love it because, they've responded from those 2 losses where a lot of people questioned their hardness. And 3 weeks in a row, they've really just backed up and shown that they are a tough footy team, and we'll keep rolling with it and see how far we go.